that. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to recap the Floyd Mayweather-Maidana pay-per-view undercard in this video. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 3 undercard fights. We're going to do a separate video for the main event. So if you want to see the main event, we'll have the link down below. And if you catch this before we get to upload it, then you'll just have to wait. It's all good. So on the undercard, we had J'Leon Love versus Marco Antonio Parabon. We had Carlos Molina and Adrian Broner, and we had Amir Khan and Luis Collazo. And we're just gonna go in order from the first fight to the last, starting with Love Parabon. Now in this fight, we had J'Leon Love kind of stepping up his competition for his third fight at 168 against a big 168 fighter in Marco Antonio Parabon. And we saw 2 really good things in this fight. One, in the beginning, was how to cut off the ring from Parabon. And then 2, how to stop someone from cutting you off in the ring by Love in the second half of the fight. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, so Parabon is a tough SOB. I mean, he's gone up against Saki Obika. He's fought, what am I saying? It was Badu Jack. And he's taken him to the brink. I mean, both of those went the distance. I don't think he's ever been knocked out. It was only...
Not that I know of.
He was drew with Bika, and he lost to Jack. He gave Jack all that he could handle. So we knew that this was going to be a tough fight for Parabon. I mean, not for Parabon, for J'Leon Love, which he made it because he actually knocked down Love in the fifth round. Which it got a little weird there because the referee just did, I don't want to say a terrible job, but in that flurry in which he was trading or actually stepping on the action against Love, he looked like he wanted to stop the fight, then was about to, then didn't, and then when Love went down, he kind of threw him to the ground, which was just weird. And it just took a lot of time out of the fight. It might have taken Parabon out of the fight because after that point, J'Leon was able to, good thing, weather the storm and utilize his jab. He really utilized his jab to keep Parabon off of him and to kind of, to me, tire him out because at that point, he was able to, I would say, mostly dominate the rest of the fight. Move around the ring and keep from getting trapped by Parabon because Parabon was actually landing a lot of punches on Love by cutting, like Hakeem said, cutting off the ring.
Yeah, and to do that, he stepped laterally with Love and also smothered him with punches. Now, Love did have a very good jab coming out, but he wasn't using it as well as he did in the second half of the fight, like round 6 through 10. He also didn't let Parabon take those angles on him, and he did that by, after landing his punches, he pivoted out of the way. So he jabbed and slid for the rest of the fight, and that prevented Parabon from getting those angles to step to the side in order to cut him off and get him back into the ropes. So we gotta give props to both guys for giving it their all. Love for surviving, being in big time trouble, then realizing how much trouble he was in to take the knee, and then getting up and surviving the fight. Parabon for taking the fight to him and giving Love that test so he could find out, where he belongs in that division.
Now, Love has had a few, he's been kind of stepping up. He did have that fight with Rosado, which I think was a good learning experience for him. And getting through this fight, he might be ready to take on some bigger names at 168. I would like to see him maybe 2 more fights. Just to kind of improve and work on that defense. But, I mean, I like what I saw. I like how he recovered, and I like how he changed his strategy up, thanks to his corner, I believe, to win the fight. And Parabon's always going to be there. He's going to be a tough out for anyone from, I would say, 160 to 175 because he is a very big super middleweight.
Yeah, I don't even think he'd make 160. But, if he did, man, more power to him.
Oh yeah.
And I feel bad for anybody that had to fight him down there because he'd probably come back into the ring at 180, which I think he did.
Both of them came in the fight at about 185, 186 range.
Yeah, they're cruiserweights, man. That is ridiculous as far as how much weight they're gaining. But let's move on to the next fight, which was Adrian Broner in his first fight back since losing his title to Maidana against Carlos Molina, who hadn't been in the ring since December 2012 when he lost to Amir Khan. Now, if you watched our preview video, which you should have, you know that we didn't really think too highly of this fight. We knew it was a showcase fight going in, and we figured that, Broner just had to show up and he would win, which he did. Problem is, it didn't look like he learned anything from his previous fights. I thought Broner looked good in his first few TV appearances, all the way up until the Gavin Rees fight.
Right.
In that fight, I was like, wow, this kid's really putting hands on this guy. If he had some power, he really had Broner in trouble. So then he moves up to 147. He fights Paulie Malignaggi. Same thing. Malignaggi's putting hands on him. He's like, man, they picked a good guy because Malignaggi doesn't have any power. So Broner wins again. They put him in with Maidana. We know what happens then. So from here, he drops down to 140 pounds. They give him Carlos Molina, I guess, as a confidence booster, which this guy does not need any confidence boosters because his confidence is already higher than his skill level has shown so far. Let's not say that he's not a good fighter. He is a good fighter. He's starting to remind me kind of Andre Berto, like somebody who's very talented, but just won't get to that top level as they're touting him to be at. You have anything?
Well, it's not about the talent. Like you said, it's not about the talent, but I think it's more about the work ethic and what he can add to. At this point, physically, where he's at, 140, seems to work well for him. He can match up in size, at least power and speed with anyone at that in that division. But at this point in his career, with him being so young, he should be able to add something new. He was too squared up at times. He still has his chin up, so it's not protected. And I don't want to talk bad about him, but that body slam was wholly unnecessary. So he's kind of got to work on the sportsmanlike stuff because at that point you could see Molina was like, oh, you want to slam me? And he was able to lay hands on him once again. Yeah. Broner just had the speed and size advantage over Molina. So not that he didn't stand a chance, but he should have looked a lot better in this fight than he did.
Yeah. And we've done a video, if you haven't seen it, on why his shell doesn't work. You can check that out on our page. There's another thing I did notice is he keeps squaring up and he's putting his shoulder there, but there's no connect here. As you see when we talk about it in the main event, the Floyd Mayweather, there's a connect there. So there's a protection on that chin. He's still getting hit with regular old straight right hands. Molina didn't even have to loop them because his shoulder really isn't protecting his chin. So he's got to correct that. He's still getting hit with left hooks, body shots. If he's going to use that style, he's really going to have to learn the ins and outs of it so he can be successful with it.
And let's face it, guys like Matisse, Danny Garcia, Lamont Peterson, they're gonna really expose him even more so because those are guys who can punch. More so with a left hook with Garcia, but as he's shown in the Herrera fight, he will throw his right hand if he has to. We know Matisse, even though he lunges, he brings a lot of power behind that right hand. And with Lamont Peterson, I believe at this point he's just going to walk him down.
Yeah.
I mean, even who did Matisse fight last?
John Molina.
John Molina, I believe, with him being taller and not afraid of anyone apparently, because he went toe to toe with Matisse and gave him all he could handle, would actually have a great chance of knocking him out.
Yeah. So unless he straightens those things out, it's not going to be looking good for him. He'll still get the paydays because of who he is and his name and who he's associated with. But as far as him being at that top level, right now we don't see it happening.
He's really got to mature and, dare I say, listen to the Floyd Jr., Floyd Sr., Roger, just some guys who's going to tell him and try to teach him, and he's going to have to start listening, because right now I just don't think he's picking up on the stuff that he needs to have in order to be a pound for pound, a champ at 140, regardless of being pound for pound. I mean, this is just our opinion. We don't like the antics. We don't think he respects the game. He gets caught up in the fame, as you all can see.
Yeah. So that's all we got for him. Let's move on to the co-main event and the last fight on the undercard, which was Amir Khan versus Louis Collazo. Now, in this fight, we had Amir Khan coming off over a year layoff for this fight, fighting Collazo, who just knocked out Victor Ortiz in January for kind of his welcome back to the mainstream. And this fight was pretty good in spots. One of the things that kind of dulled it down was Amir Khan's lack of an inside game. As far as from space, Amir Khan is great. He has learned to move around the ring a little bit better. He's learned to place his shots a little bit better. He's still doing a little bit of lunging, but not as much as he used to.
That's right.
But when it came to the inside game, he has none whatsoever. Like, no uppercuts, no hooks to the body, no kind of, like, all he'll do is grab you if you get too close to him.
That's right.
Kind of like Vladimir Klitschko. He's like the 147-pound version of Vladimir Klitschko.
And he still moves a little too much for my liking, which we know he's in shape. He's going to come in shape. But if he can just, instead of lunging and moving on those punches, if he could just step and plant, he would get more. And we know he has power. He could get guys out of there so much faster. And that's not to say anything about Collazo, because Collazo is a tough guy, period. But I think if he had just settled down and kind of stepped into his punches instead of lunging, he would have had a lot more power in them. Not only that, he's really got to stop the pushing, because we all know what happened with the Peterson fight. It's one of those things where people say, oh, it was a hometown thing with DC. No, we could see blatant pushing in here. He's been warned for it several times. Not only that, but that holding, there were times where he just held too much. Not even a clinch, he just held too much. So I believe Collazo lost the point for hitting him in the thigh. Then I believe he got another one. He just either pushed him down or hit him low.
Another low blow.
Which, I'm going to be honest, probably well deserved, but I would have did it early in the fight. And the pushing, was it Amir Khan that lost a point for that? He did lose a point for that. So it's not just a hometown decision. This is a habit that needs to be broken.
Yeah.
Or else he's going to lose fights that way, like in the Peterson fight. Because when you fight a tough guy, a skilled guy, you don't want to lose. You don't want to have any points come from your side for any reason, whether it's knockdown or penalty.
Yeah, a good thing for him, he did drop Collazo 3 times. Caught him walking into some good shots. Then when he had him hurt in I can't remember what round, was it like the 10th round or 11th round?
It was the second.
For the last knockdowns of the fight, he was able to press the action a little bit and get those knockdowns. So we gotta give him credit for that. And like we said, he is getting better. He's only been with Virgil Hunter for 2 fights. He's been training with him for maybe like a year and a half now. So it's still going to be a work in progress, because Virgil Hunter has to break the habits that Khan learned from the amateurs all the way up to now, from his old trainers before him. So it's going to be a difficult challenge for Virgil Hunter to do that, or at least just minimize them enough to the point where they don't become a consistent problem. So that's what we got to look for Amir Khan. What's up next for him, we don't know. He wants to fight Mayweather, but for religious reasons, it's not coinciding with his schedule. And I think we should all respect that, that he, has the discipline to stick to something like that and not let the dollar signs get in his way.
That's right.
All right, that's it, guys, for this video. Stay tuned for the next one, which we will talk about the main event, which was Floyd Mayweather versus Maidana. There's a lot of stuff that went on in that fight that we want to talk about, so we decided to give it its own video. So for this video, make sure you like it, thumbs up, like, all that good stuff, +1. Share it with your friends. Comment below if you have anything that you want to say. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so.
That's right.
And we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
This is round 1 and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane, I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.